too dark for you?
No, I think it's okay.
I can go ahead and get started. Oh, yay.
Wow.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
How was your day?
Thanks for teaching. Okay.
Good.
How was yours?
Good. Yeah, very good. So you can ask a lot of questions.
I should participate today.
How's the, have you been able to keep up on the readings?
Yeah, I got into a bad thing where I've just been kind of not solid with the first couple classes. So I'm trying to understand my workflow, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit behind.
Oh, okay.
But I am almost caught up. So
Okay.
it's not hard. I just had a bad first couple classes.
Yeah, it's time. It's not, the material's not that hard. No. But if you have any questions, feel free to just let me know.
Cool.
See what I can do. All right. Well, let's start with the prayers. Should we go over the mandala?
Sure.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah,
Doesn't look very pretty. I don't know why. The back fingers are good. Mount Meru is
so then your fourth fingers touch on the top, or the ring fingers are up, not are the ring fingers up? Yeah. No, the ring finger should be the one. Are they? Okay, so then the first and second fingers touch on the tips.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's like the four continents there.
Okay.
And Mount Meru in the middle.
Cool.
Sashi Bhuki Jukshin Metok Rirabling Shi Nyende Gampadi Sangye Shindu Mikte Uwargi Jang Joku Nandak Shinla Chuparshok Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami Sangye Churang Sohi Chonamla Changchu Bardu Dharmi Kyapsuchi Daki Jinyengi Pesanamki Rola Panchir Sangye Drukarsho Sangye Churang Soki Choknamla Janchu Bardu Daki Kapsuchi Daki Jinyengi Pesanamki Rola Panchir Sangye Drukarsho Sangye Churang Soki Choknamla Janchu Bardu Dagni Kapsuchi Daki Jinso So we can just go right into meditation before we get into class. Nice and cool in here.
Yeah, that's right. Pretty sure.
All right. Now, the object is initially to get very comfortable so that we're not distracted with the body. Eliminate one of our big distractions in meditation right off the bat. Now bring your mind into this room. Make a transition from our day, our work, our commute and transit here. Know that you're here in this beautiful room, in this beautiful place, in a beautiful Dharma. And it's a separation and a break from what we're doing all day. Bring your mind into this room. See yourself here. Become aware of your body in this room. Become aware of everything about this room. You can hear the noises. You can feel the cold. Feel the cushion under your seat. And bring your attention to your body. Willfully control your attention here. Don't let it wander. By bringing your attention under willful control, you bring it to the object of meditation. In this case, let's start with our gross body. Start to feel everything about the body, your seat, your cushion. Identify any tight areas or pain you might be in your knees, your back. Identify if you're tired or alert. Take a look at your breathing, see if it's shallow or deep. Then bring your awareness to the breath. Resolve for the duration of this meditation to work on the object, which initially will be the breath. And then we're going to switch the object to do an analytical meditation on renunciation. So resolve now to watch the breath thoroughly and attentively with your mind, the full 10 breaths. Every aspect of every exhalation and every aspect of every inhalation. Make it fall under the attention of the mind. And you can slowly count, but counting isn't the goal. 10 breaths with your full attention is the goal. So try to do that. meditation on how everything is impermanent, including our own life. And we've been doing that the last couple of weeks. So today we'll do the second one, which is an analytical meditation on our leisure and fortune to be here in this life right now, and to have renunciation for the worldly things that take us away from our Dharma work. Our life of leisure doesn't mean leisure in the sense of relaxation. It means that we're fortunate enough to have the causes in this time, right now, in this life, that were planted by pure morality in the past. And realize that the causes that are ripening now is these beautiful results for us to be able to practice the Buddha Dharma in our life. We're very rare indeed. So where we don't know how many seeds we have that will ripen into us to see another teaching, or to be able to understand the Dharma. So while this is ripening, these pure seeds from our past, we should take advantage of it. Leisure means that we have a very rare opportunity of all of the 6 levels of this desire realm. The lower 3 cannot practice the Dharma. Of the 3 upper realms of the desire realm, we have the fortune to be born as a human, and not as a temporary or a long-term God in this world. So we're not deluded by any kind of good thing we have. As a human, we have a perfect mix. We can see how suffering is caused in our world, and we can also see how to remove that suffering. In the desire realm, the number of beings that are not humans far outweighs the number of humans. So it is very rare to be born as a human. And then, even rarer to find the Dharma. We're held here in samsara due to our ignorance. How do we find pure truth in the Dharma when we're covered with ignorance? Now that we have found the golden ring of the Dharma, it has been purely miraculous that we have found it in this life. In this life and the Dharma meet together. It is such a rare opportunity. Think about these 3 things. Review them in your mind. all this will change too. We may not be a human. We may not have the intellect to be able to study the Dharma. There may be no Dharma in the next world where we are born. Maybe the Buddha's teachings haven't reached there, or they've left there. Maybe you'll be in a place where they'll be restricted from teaching. Do not take your health for granted. You don't know when you're going to die. Renunciation is making the most of these precious opportunities we have in this world and in this life right now. Try to identify in your mind different ways that you're actually doing this. How are you taking advantage of this precious human leisure and fortune that you've arrived at? And rejoice in those efforts you're making. Go ahead, pat yourself on the back. That you do have some renunciation. And you are taking advantage of this leisure and fortune. Dedicate the meditation that it may continue and grow. And then you can open your eyes. How are the meditations going? On a daily basis, or whenever you can.
Well, I do my own, but that's one thing I don't understand. Like I don't know how to do an analytical meditation on renunciation.
Okay.
Really, I can. I practice relax my body and focusing on my breath,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. And I've learned some different things where I focus on a point of light or something simple. But as far as analytical meditation, I don't really understand that.
Right. That's fair. Don't get hung up on the word analytical.
Yeah.
What it kind of means is he wants you to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants you to, a little bit what we did, today we outlined just 3 high-level things about renunciation, or the leisure and fortune. And in this sense, it's a bit of a review meditation, than deep analytical meditation. But I've got here a list of things to make it easier,
Cool.
based on today's material that we're going to go through.
Cool.
So for the next week, just kind of have that sheet in front of you. And in your meditation, just kind of go through it.
Mm-hmm.
So analytical in this sense just means he wants you to think about it.
Yeah.
The goal is in analytical meditation is to bring these under intellectual understanding till you get to a certain point, and then you hold that. And then whatever you're at intellectually, you hold that, and that becomes the object of meditation for a short while, maybe only 5 seconds, and then you go back and you do the review again. So you go through these steps of 8, the 8 worldly things, or the 10 fortunes, and as you review that, try to apply it to your life and feel it in your heart. Move it out of your head into your heart is really important, and that's one of the things that meditation allows you to do rather than just study. And then when you have it in your heart, like, what does it mean to be so special? Not to be born with a physical disability, which is one of the fortunes. Or one of the 8 ways of lacking opportunity. One who is not handicapped or not retarded and can actually practice the teaching. So maybe we have someone in our heart, in our lives like that, and you know that you can't practice because of that. So feel that, and then bring it into your heart, and then that helps you internalize that list. We're going to go over this today, so I'll talk about that. And then that could be the meditation, right? And hold that feeling for a little bit. And that develops a feeling of renunciation. So we're actually, today, this is the first class we're actually talking about renunciation for the whole class, and we're giving ways to actually do the analytical meditation. So it was a little difficult because you were asked to do it for 4 weeks without having been given many tools for it. So that sheet that I gave you should help with some of those things.
Cool.
Keep things in order, and then I don't have to write them all on the board either, which is much better, because then you're going to take it away. So just 2 things really from last class I wanted to talk about. I don't think we need to review the material too much. But at the end, if you remember, Coco asked the question of, any of my advices to the class as a student of, what does it mean to find a good teacher, and what does it mean to find a good teaching, and what does it mean to be a good student? What is my background here, and how can any advice is for me? So I thought some things came up to me after class last Monday, so I wanted to mention 2 things. And purely from my own personal practice, as a student, I think it's really important that everyone goes at their own level, and that everyone will be at their own level. And you need to work at your level so you have the long-term vision. Don't, you might see someone like totally drop everything and then just follow the Dharma. And that's great for them, but it may not be good for you. Don't be swayed. Don't think you're not good because you didn't do that or anything. Do what you can do. If you can do 1 class a week, great. If it's 1 class a month, that's great. Work at your level. The important thing is to just keep working. See, the important thing is not to do so much and then burn out, or to do it under circumstances which make you hate the damn thing, and then not do it. The important thing with working at your own level is just to keep the practice going. And it just builds a momentum of good karma that then builds the Dharma in your life, and then becomes easier. The obstacles get removed. It will naturally take care of itself, that you will find more Dharma and you'll have fewer obstacles for it. If you work at your level and not too intensely out of your pocket and then make things worse for yourself. So, and what that level is changes for everyone at different times. So just answer to yourself, really. The other thing that I want to talk about in terms of looking for a teacher that I personally found really helpful was to find a teacher who has committed to giving a full path of teachings. It's a hell of a long way from where we are now all the way to a stage of reaching total enlightenment in this one lifetime. It's absolutely inconceivable to my wee little mind right now. And it doesn't come about from reading books, or going to a weekend teaching, or going to 1 class a week, and then they don't teach again for another 6 months, and then they teach on a totally different topic the next time, and you slowly get this, hodgepodge things of different teachings. It's a path. It's not easy to get from here to a state of nirvana or total enlightenment, and very few teachers are concerned with bringing students there in their entirety, in their whole path. They'll teach one part. They'll teach an aspect of it. And then they may not teach for a couple of years, and then they teach one thing again. Or they'll teach it in another part of world which you can't get to, and then it's not available to you. If you can find a teacher who's committed to delivering all that you need to get there, that's the kind of teacher you should look for. And if you find someone like that, then you test them. You really look at their teachings, look at their students, see if you want to be with them. But evaluate whether they can actually take you there or not. In part by, are they committed to giving you all the teachings you need? Because you need a lot of teachings. I found very few teachers are willing to take that responsibility with a student and bring them all the way there. So, we can start tonight's class. Any questions from class 4 last week? Maybe come to mind? What's an authentic dharma, and then what are the qualities of the student? It was just really too short list to memorize.
I don't think I have any questions on that.
Okay. You know, the 3 factors of a distinguished, of a good authentic dharma should be taught by the Buddha. Right? It should be cleaned of any errors by any commentators going after it. And the third is it should produce realizations. In other words, it should work. For those who practice it, they should achieve the goals, the results. It does what it says on the tin. It's got to work.
I guess I understand that. The only hang up I have on that is the whole Buddha part.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, my understanding is that like the Buddha is only a vessel as well. You know, it's like limitless, beautiful, universal, eternal dharma that he like tapped into perfectly. But my understanding is you can get to it through infinite paths. So my only hang up is like Christianity. They say, you know, that's one of the things is like Jesus is like the one and only Son of God. I get hung up on that one and only thing. So it's like, why isn't there's other, we all could be a Buddha someday soon or in any second now. I mean, so I just don't know what the authentic teaching, it's got to come from the Buddha. Well, I kind of understand it in spirit, but you know, we're going to get teachings from all different places, right?
Right. I think that I personally don't like to see this as exclusive to other traditions which also have their teachings. But there's a lot of Buddhism which is under the Buddhism banner that doesn't come from the Buddha. I think that's what it's filtering out more than anything else. Improper teachings of Buddhism. So the fact that the source of Buddha's teachings is Lord Buddha is an authentic source, but it doesn't negate other teachings in other lineages, okay, as being authentic in their own right. But if you're going to go into the Buddhist banner, then the authentic source for our time is Shakyamuni Buddha. And he correctly identified our suffering in this world. He said there's a path out of it, and it can end, and here's how you do it. And he gave us all of the steps to do that. So in that regard, the Buddhist teachings will follow those right from the source. And if they veer from that, then they're not authentic Buddhist teachings. Okay, but I don't see it as rejecting possible other traditions as well. So I don't know if that helps. It's not saying it's the one and only for everyone. And they would agree that there's as many teachings and paths as there are people who need those. Because a teacher in any religion, of any tradition, is there as an emanation to teach them what they need at that time. Perfectly. So, and that's fine. So I don't know if that helps.
It does.
And then lastly, the 3 qualities of a student. I think these are really important, and we're always demanding of others more than we are of ourselves. I think we actually as a tendency as American students not to demand more of ourselves, but we really do need to be free of any preconceptions in our minds. Everyone is so opinionated in our country, and everyone reads something on the web and thinks it's true, or reads a book and says that's the way it is, and you have to go into a class free of all of that and be open to things, because some of these teachings are pretty radical. And they do require work. This path does work, I will tell you that, but it doesn't work if you don't do the work. So it requires the student to put in the time. And whatever it is, maybe it's study for a little while, maybe it's meditate for a little while, maybe it's serving for a little while, maybe it's something totally different for a little while. But you do, whatever you do at all times, keep the correct worldview in your heart and mind, and then it'll keep the Dharma close. It does require work. People who do attain the goals, and you hear about these great saints, they did it through hard work, really hard work. But it's possible, and they had the desire and the drive. And don't just do it because Milarepa did it. But if that drive is there for a student, it's possible. It's basically saying it can be done. Yeah. And that's cool. And maybe one day that drive will be there, and you can make huge progress. So that's important. All right. So let's talk today much more about renunciation. In order to, we've defined roughly renunciation as the desire to get out of suffering, right? But we haven't really, and you need to define what you want to get out of in order to be able to get out of something, right? You can't just say, I don't want to be here, because you have to decide where else you want to go. So let's define, and we need to spend a little bit of time looking at what we mean when we say get out of suffering. So the first thing we need to talk about is a Tibetan word called korwa, spelled K-O-R-W-A. And korwa you will come across a lot, so it's one of the common words, Tibetan words that you will see and come across in other teachings, and your future teachings. And it means basically a wheel, but not as in a physical object of a wheel, but what the wheel does. And that is the wheel just spins around and around. Right? So it's a cycle. A wheel is a cycle, right? Bicycles, 2 cycles, 2 wheels. Korwa is a wheel. It's a cycle. And the cycle that they're talking about is the cycle of birth and death and birth and death and everything in between. Come on in, Rob.
You play John? Or
today's Monday.
It's true. Weird.
It's not Tuesday.
Yeah, it's so funny. I had got some in my head. It's John class, but it's really nice to be. I had to come here then.
You don't have to stay if you don't.
No, they do it for everything. No, I'm supposed to. Come on, man. Somebody.
John is irreplaceable. I'm not replaceable.
She said, "No, you are an irreplaceable in your own right."
Welcome to Monday.
Thank you. I would have come. I simply did it before. So on the rush to finish all the courses.
So we're doing this is course 1.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, good. This is the 3 jewels. Great. Nice to have you here. All right, so korwa, the cycle of birth and death and birth and death and birth and death. And it requires a huge leap of faith. In our culture, we don't believe in this rebirth and then another death and a rebirth and another death. And we're not going to go into it tonight because it's a much bigger topic, but we will over the course of the ACI courses. But there's a very, very good possibility that our mind does continue on when our body dies. And there's as much proof that it does as if it doesn't. There's in fairness, in my opinion, there's a lack of proof in either way. So I will take the benefit of the doubt in my own opinion, in my own practice, and err on the side of caution and assume that a lot of things that are happening to me in my life now, I did not create those causes in this life. I know what I did in this life. And there's a lot that I didn't create that's ripening. And the only possible cause for that is from a previous life. I have my own little proofs for thinking that, hey, maybe there is a mind stream that has accrued karmic imprints from a long time ago, and they're still ripening now. And in that case, I want to be very careful of those imprints that I'm planning now for the future. And so, just on that, think about the cycle of birth and death. And what's in the middle is just suffering. And it's not the suffering it's not a hell suffering. There's a lot of joy in our suffering. There's a lot of ups and downs. It's not like being in the hell realm where there's every instant of every 24/7 cycle for every eon is pain, incredible pain. It's not like that. We have a little bit of both in our world. And it's a mixed blessing, really. But Lord Buddha did say his first truth coming out of enlightenment, or this world is suffering. But there's a path out of that suffering. And that path is, planting pure seeds to the moment that you're not having any karma ripening in samsara anymore. So we need to talk a little bit about this cycle, this korwa, and what samsara is, so that we know what we're renouncing. If you don't know what you're renouncing, how can you renounce it? So that's what we need to go over that as a basis. What keeps us in samsara? What keeps us everywhere is basically our karma, right? Everything is a karma projection from our mind. And then, so what is our karma? It's defined as a movement of the mind, right, that generates activities or results in the three of body, speech, and mind. So they say, movement of the mind and what it motivates. What it motivates is us, our three doors of expression. So everything in our world comes from karma. And all that karma is coming from our mind stream. And all of this is just all, until we purify the karma that's ripening, it could be a good day or it could be a bad day. It could be a good day before lunch, a bad day after lunch. It could be a good hour, bad half hour. Everything is like that. And it's until you have pure seeds all the time, you are going to be in a suffering world. So where is this suffering world then? Where is samsara? Is it this planet? Is it this universe? Is it here? Is it over there? When we say I want to get out of samsara, what does it mean? Does it mean you want to take a boat somewhere? Where is samsara? What does it mean to get out of the cycle? Go ahead.
It's in your mind.
Yeah, it is. It's entirely in your mind. Because you are samsara and you are your mind. And if you have impure seeds ripening to create your impure heaps that are rising now to make you up as a human being in the desire realm, then you're not going to have a paradise. But when you do have the pure seeds and the pure karma ripenings, you will be in a paradise. And that's the removal of samsara. When you've totally eliminated your mental afflictions, and with pure bodhicitta, achieve total enlightenment. So it's all up to us. Samsara is relative to each mind, each person. And if samsara is, so is Buddhahood. Right? Some person's Buddhahood could be, no one sees another person's mind from another person's perspective. So maybe someone's experiencing walking down the road in New York as a pure Buddha paradise. Okay? Because it's coming from their mind. And if they have the pure seeds for that, then it will be that way. And until you do, it's samsara. And samsara is defined as the having to take on and on again impure heaps to be reborn again and again. And those impure heaps are caused by your karma. Every time, everything you do all day long through your body, speech, and mind create karmic imprints. And these are the things that just keep us in samsara because most of them aren't done with correct worldview. And as a result, they're impure. And they just cause us to be reborn back again in the cycle of suffering instead of being born outside of the cycle of suffering. We talk more about the wheel of dependent origination in another course. But it's it's a rebirth and birth cycle, and all of our lives until we get to the point where we have enough pure enough seeds to escape that and go to nirvana. And it's a metaphor for what actually does happen. But the point is, our mind will keep taking birth again and again, involuntarily, in samsara. It's forced on us. Samsara will be forced on us until we plant enough pure imprints to be born somewhere else. And our enlightenment, our reaching nirvana, can be done at the time of death, so that you're reborn somewhere else. But it may very well be something that's done before you die. So it's not always something that happens at the end of the cycle at a point of death and rebirth. It can be done during the cycle of life too.
Meaning you can be reborn when you're still in this body in this life.
Not reborn, you could reach nirvana or total enlightenment. Because it's also coming from your mind. That state of attaining nirvana or enlightenment is a karmic shift. Just like death is a karmic shift. Pretty soon, your karma to see a body, well, it's constantly changing. The body you see is constantly changing. And eventually it changes so much that it does not anymore. And then other karma ripeness. It's an ongoing cycle of karma. We're attached to the karma that's ripening now. But it's no more permanent than anything else. And if we looked at it, we'd see it's constantly changing. It's not permanent at all. And that sense of permanence is an illusion. It's a convenience for our mind, our stability. We couldn't handle the level of impermanence in our world without mapping permanence onto things. And I think it's healthy to some extent, or we just don't go crazy. We can't always live on such insecurity of how impermanent things are. Our whole world is built on impermanence, yet it has some permanence and solidity to it. So it works. If it functions, that's fine. But understand it's also an illusion, because it's not the true nature of everything. So the important thing with renunciation, and to gain renunciation from this awareness of what samsara is I think for me it's threefold. One, you have to admit that this world, there's a lot of suffering, and that it's not as good as it looks. Good things happen, but they don't last. And quite honestly, how good are the good things? When you talk about how beautiful a Buddha paradise would be, the amount of bliss you would have with pure karma ripening, it's so far beyond what your best day in this human life would be. So what we think is good is probably relatively pretty crappy in the whole scale of things. So you first have to admit that. Like there's some stuff that you don't really want, and it's suffering. And it's unpleasant. And then you have to admit, you have to want out of it. You kind of want to say, I can do better. I don't have to have that. I can definitely have more joy, more bliss in my life than what I'm getting now. And then you have to have faith that it can happen. You have to believe in Buddha's truth that there is an end to suffering. And that there's a path to that end of suffering. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's just a base point to understand that to have renunciation out of it. Because if you don't have renunciation for the suffering in this world, then you'll never succeed in the Buddhist path. Because you have to want to get out of the suffering. His first teachings were about this. That's how important and fundamental they are. And this recognition of suffering is the first truth he's taught. So the Buddhist, as a Dharma practitioner, your path is about this hope of eliminating suffering. It's not dwelling on the negative and the suffering side. It's focusing on the positive, which is the path of getting out. Renunciation is all three of these things. It's encapsulating all three as a path. renunciation is not attaching to worldly things in this life that are going to just cause impure karma ripening more and more suffering. The more pure karma you plant, like in Dharma, whatever Dharma you do, the better your life will get. It's a sign already that your things are shifting. Eventually, it can go much further to the point that you see your hand is total bliss and pure light. And what you see in this life from your progress in the Dharma is just a fraction of where you need to go, but you can already see it as working. And that's from renunciation. So in our practice, in our meditations, we try to get to the point where you are feeling that aspect of, I want to identify the suffering in this world, I want to get out of it, and I believe there's a path out of it, and it can happen. And it helps. Because that's what you're trying to identify with renunciation.
No, it just reminds me, like, I'm visiting this old man, and he's like 87, he's very alone, nobody visiting him, and he's like, his body is decaying, and when you see it sometimes, and he's very open to spirituality in some levels, you know, he's like, did Vedanta, like 40 years and stuff, but then I was talking with him about, you know, just about that, about the truth of suffering and all, because he seems to still be really disappointed and surprised from life being hard and bad. So I was explaining like what does it mean, like for example, non-self, that you do not control, that if you control your body, you will never get old, you will never get sick, you will never die, of course, maybe you will not be born as well. And when we talked about that, like the critics of the part analyzing what is an Atman, nothing belongs to you and you don't control. He was like having this, like a coin fell there, like something dropped there, and he was like yeah, I can't control. Like, can you look at his body? Like, it was like somebody inside there was like 15 or 20 and looked at his body now and said, how did I get to be this way? I didn't even notice. You know, and it's interesting how deceiving is something really deceiving in life somehow. And usually because most people don't notice it if it's really late. Even if it's kind of open spirituality sometimes, that's kind of fundamental.
It's kind of sad, but it's beautiful you opened his eyes a bit.
Yeah, I guess. He's still pretty miserable. I mean, but yeah, we actually had an amazing. We read together Mula Madhyama Kakarika, which is a pretty hard text. And he has a lot of insight into it. He really understands it. It's very interesting. He's intellectually, and he's like 87. He's very open. That's very interesting. Sometimes simply that condition of seeing that suffering in you all, like that time kind of opens something for you. For him, maybe.
Yeah, I think the teachings are very logical and make perfect sense if they've been presented to you rightly. So it's not, they're not hard to understand in some sense. Some people have a lot of blocks to it, yes, but if you're open to it. All right, so why is renunciation necessary to escape samsara? And what's the connection between the two? And then what's the connection between renunciation and bodhicitta, which are the first and the second of the three principal kinds? The connection between renunciation and samsara is actually very simple. If you don't believe in suffering, that things are suffering in samsara, that you'll never want to leave it. If you're under the illusion that this is the best you can get, and this is good enough, then you'll never want to leave it. And you'll never want to improve on it. And you're happy with all the stuff that happens to you. then the connection between renunciation and bodhicitta is that once you've realized this and have gained that realization for yourself, you're not able to accept the suffering of others around you either. Because you know that everyone else is suffering and it's unacceptable to you. And you want to help them with it too. So once you achieve that level of realization of renunciation for yourself, you'll just see that everyone else is in the same boat. And that develops great compassion to help them. And in some sense, you need to understand what samsara is in order to have great compassion. It's a real critical element. So once again, we're finding out all three paths are all tightly wound up. It's not, we break them down into parts and give them lists and delineations, but at the end of the day, they're so tied in. It's one organism of pure thought, really. All right. So I mentioned in the meditation this morning, in the beginning, that there are two ways, or two Lamrim meditations, two steps in order to gain some realization of renunciation. And they're very standard steps of the path. And the beautiful thing about these Lamrims is that they are exact steps. Like to get from here to there, you just do this. And the beautiful thing about the Lamrims in these steps is you always know where you are and you always know where you aren't. So you always know where you can go to and you know what realizations you've already felt and had. So these Lamrims are beautiful descriptions of where you need to be and how you get there. So there's two of them for renunciation, which are very appropriate. And I mentioned them. One is to understand your life of leisure and fortune. And the other is to understand how everything is impermanent, including our own selves, and that death is inevitable. So the meditations on leisure and fortune help remove the desire for things in this life. And there's two kinds of desires. Desire for things in this life and desire for things in the next life. And the next life really just kind of means you want a better rebirth. It's for practitioners of the medium and greater scope will want to have a better rebirth for themselves and then for themselves and others. So you're concerned with your karma ripening after this life. But for us tonight, we're going to focus on the ways that
this is like the concern of the people of the lower scope, right?
who just want to avoid a lower rebirth.
Okay, to have good rebirth.
Yeah, avoid a lower one. It's kind of put in the negative, but it means though they could be reborn as a human as well, and be at the same level. It's not necessarily a better rebirth. So the foundation of all renunciation is to improve things. For all practitioners of all scopes, you're saying, yeah, if you're on the path, you want to improve things in one way or another, whether it's for yourself or for others. So the meditation on leisure and fortune removes desire for things in this realm, in this life right now. And that's important because I touched on it earlier, it's our reaction to things in this world which constantly are creating impure karma and then impure karmic ripenings and causing us to have these impure heaps be reborn again and again. And that's what samsara is. So one of the ways, or one of the antidotes to this is renunciation. I say one of them because the ultimate antidote for samsara and ignorance, which is the root of samsara, is correct view, which is the third of the three principal paths. And we'll talk about that at the end of the course. But one of them, antidotes, one of the main ones is, of course, renunciation. You have to see how precious this time is. for example, on a gross level, at one point there were 10 people in this class. And their karma shifted. And they're not here. For whatever good reason it is, they're not here. Maybe they're on the other side of the camera. I don't know, which is fine. But things shift. Things are impermanent. You never know what's going to happen next week. It is rare. In the city of, 5-6 million people, how many people are studying the Dharma tonight? In the world, how many people are practicing the Dharma? A very, very, very small fraction. Even then, we're only giving ourselves 2 hours today to do this, which is just a small fraction of our day. But our opportunity to practice and the meeting of your willingness to practice and an authentic teaching, and you're having all of the ways of lacking opportunity, which we're going to come across now, that you've eliminated, are so rare and so precious. There's a metaphor for it. There's a little story for it. So they say, imagine this. Imagine the surface of the earth was covered with oceans. And there was a ring, a beautiful golden ring floating on the surface. And it just floats there and it goes with the tides and the storms and the waves and the winds. And at the bottom of one of the oceans, somewhere on the earth, there's a blind turtle. And once every 100 years, this blind turtle surfaces for air, and he just goes up for air. And the probability of that being, that turtle, surfacing right where the point where that gold hoop is the same probabilities that you've had to find Dharma in this life and to practice. It's that rare.
It's for having human rebirth, I heard.
Or how many grains of sand in the Ganges River?
No, to having a human rebirth even.
Even having human rebirth. And then even more rare to be born, to have the Dharma in your life. Yeah. It's incredibly rare. It's incredibly fortuitous. And to not take advantage of it means you could spend eons again waiting. And you have to think about your mind previously and post this advantageous birth. If we only focus on what we know in our conscious mind in this life, we think it's great, we're going to get it again. I love hearing stories, and it could be true. People say, my last life, I was in India, and I was, a sadhu, or my last life I was a farmer, that's why I like, to cook now, or something. And it's possible, but the chances of having 2 human rebirths in a row are very, 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 very rare. So, anyways, you have to contemplate that. So in your daily meditation, contemplate on that rarity. And how rare it is even to get here on an evening class. And he comes when he wasn't even part of the class. It's double rare. So when things are rare and precious, you start to treat them a little differently. And you take advantage of them, and you kind of give them a priority and say, it's cool, it's rare, I'm going to go with it. And so the meditation on this kind of creates that specialness for the Dharma and whatever it is you're doing. And also, I think it's important to do what we did at the end of the meditation and rejoice in the efforts you're making, because the more rejoicing you do on these efforts in the Dharma in this life, the more they're going to come back. It's part of the karmic imprint that makes it happen again. It makes it seem more powerful. So, because it's so rare, because it's such a precious object, and a holy karmic object, a powerful karmic object, be sure to rejoice in your virtue you're doing getting here. You ran here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You rushed here. So that's rejoicing then.
So I had a lot of, something in subconscious, I was waiting for the train for a long time, and come, took the other train, I had to walk a lot. And then, it's actually it's Monday, not Tuesday.
So they say there's 8 ways of lacking opportunity. So I put this on the sheet. Here, Ron, I'll give you this. I'll pass that. Here it is. A cheat sheet. Oh. So let's see. So it's not on the first page. It's the second page. Or the flip side, the back side. And we'll just go through these because we're not going to go through in detail on them, but I'll just review them together so that you can review these in your meditation. So they put it in the negative. These are 8 ways of lacking opportunities. And the point is that you aren't lacking, you don't have any of these. So that's how fortunate you are. Hold wrong views, believing what you do does not come back to you, is basically not believing in karma, which means not believing in morality. And it's pure morality which allows us to see the Dharma and have pure rebirth. Pure morality is what's critical for us to have renunciation, to really get that realization.
That's not believing in karma, necessarily not believing in morality, because a lot of people who don't believe in karma can still be moral. I know a lot of people are totally like, how is it called, the cult of that was in India like a long time ago. That were just, they had a lot of debate with them, the early Buddhists. What are the names that you just thought you were born, you die, no karma, nothing? What is the name? You know what I'm talking about?
There's so many groups that have debated the...
Yeah, but that group is the group that it was very much like Western kind of medical empiricism kind of group, you know, that everything just matter.
Then nothing matters.
Yeah, something like that. Like nihilists, very nihilists.
Nihilists,
Yeah, but they have a name. I have to remember the name. Doesn't matter. But they're still moral. I mean, a lot of people in the West, even though they don't have any belief in karma, and today not even religious, you know, in Christianity and Judaism doesn't have this similar moralities. They are not even religious in any way, and still it can be moral.
Right. Well, karma doesn't require you to believe in karma for it to work.
Yeah.
You know, gravity works whether we believe it or not. I mean, I didn't know anything about gravity, and gravity still worked. The whole world didn't know anything about gravity, and it worked. So the causes, the point with this is that you're responsible. You're personally responsible for things, and that if you hurt someone, then you will be hurt. And that it's morality in that sense, taking personal responsibility for things.
What I mean is that karma might be a very good motivation for morality, but it's not necessarily the only one. I mean, morality can exist without believing in karma. It can exist because somebody is an idealist and simply want to make a better world, or you know, all kind of things like that, without thinking he gets reward for that, or without even getting back to him, or because he want to abide to the law of the country, or even because he think it's better, it's more comfortable, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and the laws of the country say no killing and no stealing too. So yeah, they cross over a lot.
Want to be an upstanding citizen. To make America great again.
So that's the first one there. You can meditate on that one. Be born as an animal, insatiable spirit, or born in the hell realms. Those are the 3 levels of the desire realm that are lower than human birth. Those beings cannot practice the Dharma and achieve enlightenment in this lifetime. They don't have the same fortune that a human being does. Be born in a land where the Buddhist teachings are not available. Either they've come and gone, or they haven't reached there yet. We're very fortunate. It's only in the last 50 years we've even had Buddhist teachings here in America, because they weren't translated. We had some Indian yogis come over about 100 years ago, but they weren't teaching the Buddhist teachings. They were teaching Hindu teachings. So the Buddhist teachings, maybe in the 50s, 60s. You know, it's been a relatively short period of time in America, and it's had a big impact. But before that, you were in a world that didn't have the Buddhist teachings, even though they were on this planet. No longer. So you don't have this lacking of opportunity. Uncivilized land where there's no morality, there's no war zone, you know, there's no anarchy here. Being a capable human, not born with any handicaps. And then the last one is the 2 pleasure realm beings, which are above the human realm, but also are suffering realms. And they're not fortuitous because you get attached to those beautiful God and demigod realms, but they don't last either, and they eventually you'll fall down to a hell realm. So no one in those 2 realms uses that opportunity in those God realms to do anything about it. Humans do something about it. They have that opportunity to do that. So, these are the 8 ways of lacking opportunity that identify you as having leisure in this life. Another thing is, oh yeah, that's something different. So let's go over then the fortune. There's 10 fortunes. So when we say leisure and fortune, 5 of them relate to ourselves and 5 relate to others, or the outside world. So the 5 relating to ourselves that are fortunate, we're born as a human. Central land where people keep traditional vows and morality, we're generally there. We've got social morality and a lot of laws. To be born with all the 1 faculties, same thing, we can think and meditate, we have a body, we can work. We haven't committed any heinous misdeeds. Killings when parents, there's 5 root misdeeds which are so bad that prevent you from, they create so many obstacles for you to have the Dharma that in this case, because you haven't directly committed any of these. And you have faith in the teachings. Faith is important to a certain point. Faith enough to believe that the path is a valid path and that it'll work if you put the effort in is all that I'm saying for faith. Don't take it on face value. Don't have faith just because someone says it. But have a little bit of faith that it's an authentic path, that it will work for you. And then you'll prove to yourself whether it works or not. So the 5 fortunes that are related to the outside world, the Buddha has come. In other words, it's not so much that he was here, it's just that he left a trail of teachings. And these teachings are a path to us, for us to do what he did. He did it, he went, he achieved enlightenment here, and he said, this is how I did it. A perfect teacher in the regard that if someone's done it themselves, they can more likely bring somebody else there because they've just done it, rather than somebody who hasn't done it yet. The teachings were here, they've been translated, they've been spoken, they haven't been lost, although they have been in some countries. People still practice these teachings these days, and there's a bit of a Dharma community. The last one's about support for practitioners. Because it's hard to do alone. The Sangha is very, very important. So in your meditation or renunciation, you can review these as part of the meditation. And call it analytical meditation. So the next thing we need to talk about in terms of renunciation is the 8 worldly dharmas, which is the first list there. And these 8 worldly thoughts, as Geshe-la translate them, are things we have to, they eventually, we'll talk later, they eventually become a measure for how much we've achieved in renunciation. How much renunciation we've achieved. These are things which we are attached to or we have aversion to in this world as humans. And they're things which are forced on us. We really don't have much control over it. So being happy when we get something, right? And then being unhappy when we don't. It's the extremes, right? And having attachment to one and having an aversion to another. Attachment to feeling good and an aversion to feeling crappy. Attachment to becoming well known and an aversion for being an anonymous person. Attachment to praise and then an aversion to have someone speak crap about you. And they're common things. And the point is that we cycle up and down whether someone says something good or bad about us. And we feel good when someone does, and we're beaming, and then when someone says something bad about us, we feel crappy, and we feel negative, and we feel judgmental, and we want to retaliate back. And the problem with the second half of all of these, each 4 sets, the second one is a negative, right? You don't feel good, and someone didn't speak good about you. Is that you do things and react to it in a negative way, which plants impure karma, and then further impure heaps and further korva, further samsara, further rebirths in samsara. So you're just perpetuating things. Um, and the other side, being happy when everything is good, kind of, if it's not done with the wisdom of correct view, you're just having blind attachment, ignorant attachment. You're not aware of why things are happening or where things are coming from, and it's you're just burning up karma of good things happening in your life, and then it's gone. So, as someone who has renunciation should be kind of on the middle level, like this, across the ups and downs of feeling good when someone says something good about you, or feeling bad when someone doesn't say something good about you, and up and down across these four. Renunciation means I don't care about if someone says something good about me or not. I'm not attached to that. If someone says something bad to me about something, I don't have aversion to that because I know where it's coming from. I know this afflicted mind, this ignorant mind, which is afflicted by these four states up to 8, and I'm not buying into it. I know where things are coming from, and I'm going to change that. And I'm not going to have attachment or aversion. I'm going to break this cycle of ignorance, and because I want to get out of suffering. I'm sick of this pain. Up and down, good and bad, life and death. I'm sick of it. I don't want it anymore. There is a better path. And it starts with me not responding to all of this, because that's just perpetuating the cycle of samsara again. So you're supposed to avoid these 8 like the plague. But you can't avoid them purposefully. You can't say, I'm not going to be happy when I win the Oscar, you know? You should be happy when you win the Oscar. But understanding why you're winning the Oscar with correct view. And then if you don't win, don't have aversion to all the other winners, you know, or to losing or the system or all this other stuff. And understand it's the same as the karma for, the laws of karma for winning and losing are the same. It's just imprints from your past that are ripening. And understanding that. So, over the course of your Dharma career, you can use these 8 as a litmus test. You know, when there's going to be a lot of, for the rest of your life, there's going to be ups and downs. And when you extend it beyond these 4 ups and downs, other things, getting a job and losing a job. You know, list goes on and on. And see if you have attachment to things or an aversion to things as they pan out. And use as a litmus test for where your renunciation, where your worldview is. You have any questions on these 8 worldly dharmas? I typed them up there so you could have them for review.
Right. I guess for me it leads into like my bigger question about renunciation, which is it's hard for me to make the distinction between renouncing everything of this world and then renouncing things in a practical way in my life. Like I can't renounce. I mean, I could renounce every single piece of fat that I eat, and I could never drink any more beer, and I could never, sleep late again. But it's a little unrealistic. So then,
it's not working at your level like I started with.
Exactly. So in terms of that's where I'm at.
Sure.
So like being happy when someone speaks well of you, like you said, you should be able to enjoy that.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, you shouldn't get all greedy and ego-y. So that balance, I find, is where I'm trying to figure out where my meditation lies.
For me, personally, I had to differentiate between, uh, the verb like renounce to the state of mind renunciation. And they're not, for me, there's some space there, right? And it's not to renounce everything in this world. It's to gain a state of mind of renunciation. You cannot stop, for example, from becoming a millionaire if that's what's going to happen to you. And you can still be renunciate. You can still have renunciation, and that karma is going to ripen, right? You can win the Oscar with renunciation. You can't, that karma was planted so long ago, who knows what, but it's ripening. You can't say, oh no, I renounce that. Don't make me win. No, I don't want to gain $1 million. It's happening. So it's a frame of mind more than anything, and that's why you can't judge people from the outside. It's really important to keep open the fact that somebody who seems to maybe have a lot of things could be have greater renunciation than somebody who's living in a cave and just dreaming of fame and wishing they could do something different and had $1 million and a big house and all these books and stuff. So it's a frame of mind more than anything, and that's what's going to change the world more than outer appearances, anyways. You could, throw off all your clothes and don a loincloth and go to live in a cave, but it doesn't mean that you really got renunciation. So in working at your own level, for me personally, in my practice, there were times to do more formal renouncing of material things. For example, you do that during retreat, no matter how short or how long your retreat is, whether it's a weekend, a 10-day, or 30-day, or longer, you renounce certain things. Okay, I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm not going to watch TV or turn on the computer, or I'm not going to my work for a week. You're putting up barriers. I'm not going to talk to my family. I'm going to just do this. So there are certain times and practices where you do more overt renouncing of things like that. You might change your diet or change your routine, your schedule and stuff. But other times it's not that. And you can go to a really nice restaurant that someone pays for. You invite you along. You're like, sure, you just do it. It's your karma ripening. Someone wants to buy you food, and it's okay. But do it in your mind without that huge attachment. And they say, do you want to go to, Pita Hut or this 5-star restaurant? You're like, I don't care where you want to take me, And you don't have attachment to the 5-star restaurant. It's like, whatever, It's whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So work towards the frame of mind more than anything else, I'd say.
I would say it's also very connected to equanimity, that comes basically when you really take the larger scope of thing. In a way, for me, it's very like once I understood that ultimately the pleasure I get from something is not what I do even. It's just the karma that will manifest, good or bad karma. Because sometimes I can go. Sometimes I did this choice and I went to this 5-star restaurant. It was a nightmare because I don't know. The person there was obnoxious. And I had a quarrel with somebody, and suddenly I went to this cheapest restaurant, and it was such a delight because I don't know, I just felt good, and the waitress was really nice, and there was atmosphere. I mean, I mean, everything. For me, like when I saw that, like everything happening is just a way for karma to go. It's not the karma itself. Then I mean, why to be grass to it? I mean, because if good karma is supposed to ripen now in whatever I do, I like sometimes I had the best time in a bus ride that nobody wants to go because it's like 15 hours, but you meet the best person and it's really interesting. And sometimes, I mean, that's the way I see it. So then, like, my instinct, it's about creating all these things that charge whatever happened to you as good and not as bad.
You mentioned earlier that it's parallel to equanimity about things. That's talking about remaining equanimous. And that's also going into being harmless about mental afflictions and things too. Mental equanimity.
That old man taught me that actually. This experience, I saw that because I was coming to him and he lived in this apartment, which is like, he's like a hoarder, so it's really small apartment, full of stuff. You cannot open the door. Like you have to really go like this through the door, and it's very stinky. It was never cleaned for I don't know 35 years or something. I don't know how much. And still I'm sitting with him sometimes, and sometimes it's hard, but sometimes I really have amazing good experience, good feeling. And just next to it there is a friend which is really cool guy and has like parties and stuff. He's living in the same apartment, and I know I could sit to that guy at my friend's house, and I will not enjoy it. I'm sitting with that guy because simply it's not about what you do somehow, or the condition at least. It is about what you do, how you see yourself, what you do. I mean, but it's not about
the outer condition.
The outer conditions. Yes.
And then you'll find that if you listen to your heart, the beautiful thing about meditation is you start to move your head from your head to your heart. And you know, like, what do you really want to do? What's the most beautiful thing? And you know, you get more joy out of one place or another because of you identified what creates joy in you. You know, and you go towards that. You just start making decisions based on that. Meditation is beautiful because you start to learn to see a little bit more about yourself, what yourself. You get out of it. For me, it was getting out of my head. Do you have any questions about the leisure and fortune? I broke it down into more than the class had, but I think that might help with some of the reviews.
It just seems to be it's almost like if I were to meditate on this, I would just meditate on being grateful.
Yeah. Yep. And then
for some reason that's a better word than renouncing. Renouncing is like complex for me because it's but being grateful seems easy to me.
Yep. That's the rejoicing side. Yeah, rejoicing in our fortune and leisure and fortune, and then that generates the desire to keep it going, and you start to see how precious it is, and to nurture it, and then that creates an upward spiral of doing it again and again, which plants more seeds for it to happen again and again. Yeah, you can definitely look at it that way. Yeah, I don't like the word renunciate or renounce. I like the mental space of renunciation.
I think we translate also renunciation that I can live without things. You know, okay, I can live. I like to be rich, but I can live poor, no problem. I like to have a girlfriend. I can be alone. It's no problem. Nothing happened. It's just okay. You know. So then it actually make you much more free somehow.
Sometimes, but you have all those. You give up all those things and want them, and then you're not free. Your mind is suffering so much.
I mean, when it's okay. Like if I don't have it, I mean, I can live without. That's what it means. Nothing happens, so I don't have that, and don't have that, and don't have that, and it's okay. I mean, it's not like I'm, because I mean, in Judaism they say it's not. I don't know how it's hard to translate from Hebrew, but it's basically if the devil have you, if you're holding one hair, he hold all of you. So you know, so it can be one thing I cannot give up. I don't know. I can't give up hot chocolate in the morning, but then it comes a time for retreats, as you say, and I don't get the hot chocolate in the retreat, so I don't go. Then I'm a loser. Then I lost, somehow. So it's about to do the right thing. It doesn't matter, all the things are kind of just preferences, but there is the right thing to do, the ultimate thing to do.
Yeah. So keep it as a mental concept, renunciation. And play with it in your head. Like, how can you have so much and still have renunciation? What does it really mean? And then work at your level. Sometimes it's okay to give things up, and you're ready to give things up. And maybe clear your life out a little bit. Try a little bit of the Western form of renouncing, and keep things that you need. I don't like a lot of things, but for me, there's a few things that I've picked out and said these are the things that I need to keep going in this world right now. And then I've just got a few I identified with. I've agreed that those are going to be part of my world right now. And then I get those, and then I don't think about anything else. That's it. And then those things I've identified that I need are met, and that's it. And then in a couple of years, those needs will shift. But just stop blindly reaching out for things too. Work at your own level.
I saw that also something in life always challenge you for that. Like I brought sometimes like I found this thing in Peru, this really cool quote in Peru, and I like it that I bought, especially that I was like meaning a lot of it. And then I had a friend coming to my house for all the thing I have. Wow, I need to have it, like or something like that. A lot of time when you have this thing that you like, when you have the thing, somehow the world will challenge, test you with that.
And they're there to test you. And it's great to give it up and joyfully.
Yes, if you're willing, if you
ready.
can do it, if you can do it joyfully.
Yeah. And then if not, then it's not at your level, and that's okay too. It's working at your level. Very important. Okay, that's it for tonight's class. We'll close with prayers. Kewadi kewoku sunam yeshe sosokshi sunam yeshe lejungwe dampa kuni tokarshu. There's one class announcement I want to make. ACI would like to give you the opportunity to study with additional 3-year retreaters. So starting next week, I'm going to introduce Vilma Stayano, who did the 3-year retreat, as a teacher for the remaining part of this course. So next week, Vilma and I will co-teach the class.
With Vilma, she's like, I know her, right? She's a tall girl. She's
Pretty tall, yeah?
she's an artist. No,
No.
maybe it's
This is Vilma from Brooklyn. Interestingly enough, when I listen to these tapes to review them for this course 1, which was taught in 1993, she was in that course. So you're getting a direct lineage from someone who was there 22 years ago at the first teaching. I think I should have did this. So she's coming in. We'll co-teach next class, which is class 6, just as a transition. And then she'll teach 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we'll both come back again for the review. We do class 11 as a review of all 10 previous classes. So I'll be available then to review material that I taught as well. So it's a great opportunity for the people here in New York to get exposure and teachings from people who did long retreat and kind of internalize the teachings in a very unique way, and have that to share with the students here. So we're going to try and do that here with course 1 because we have an opportunity in the beginning of an 18-course, run to do something like that and introduce a few more teachers, etc. Okay.
I have one announcement. Okay. I'm trying to activate a program that was very successful in Israel, which is called the Visiting Angel Program, which means basically people meet all on person like what I told you now, and spend some time with them. It's a really good way to have common for relationships, and common for, and you can teach them about emptiness and stuff. It's a very good common basically for anything that has to do with relationship and friendship, I guess, like from correlations, and like, and then the 23rd there is an organization named Dorot, and you go there. It's in the 59 and Broadway, I think, and like Upper West Side, and basically give you a package which has all kind of things, funny food, and they match you with a lonely person at that area, and you go and visit that person for 1 hour and bring you the package or the gift, and basically spend some time with him. And the social worker basically she match you with somebody you can defeat, and if you kind of like each other, you can come and visit them again and again, like once a week, once a month, as much as you want. And like for me, it's really amazing. I did it in Israel, I do it here, and I'm really grateful of that program.
And they match you up. They already have the person.
Yes, they have lists of a lot. There are apparently a lot of old people in this area, and many of them pretty lonely. Not all of them poor, like some of them different
Sure.
conditions, but still they're really yearning for some human connection. And sometimes you coming there, it's like bringing light into darkness, and it's really meaningful. There, you might be even living for that hour with you, like something that really keeps them going somehow. And then if you come and you have wisdom, and they're like in these stages in life, and they are really open for wisdom because they really see all the things. They really see the deception and the suffering of samsara acutely. So it can be very open for stuff. And I think it's a great merit. It's a great way to do merit. And so I publish it on the Facebook of like in the Three Jewels Facebook page. But you can ask me as well. I can give you.
Do you have a flyer up or anything?
I don't have a flyer up. I should maybe I will print it now. I can create a flyer and print it now.
It's the 23rd, you said?
23rd. It's a Sunday. It's Sunday like afternoon or noon. Simply go there and you get a package, and it's really happy, and a lot of good people there. And they give you like some training what to do, how to talk and stuff, and then you simply meet somebody new, and it's cool.
Okay.
And then you can go and make a little walk in Central Park.
And what's that called? Is that called?
Sorry?
What is that called?
The organization do that named Dorot, Dorot, and they usually do events like this before holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Passover. Now it's Passover coming, so there are a lot of especially Jewish